Hi, sixth graders. Today we are going to be talking about dividing fractions by fractions. So our essential question today is, how do you divide fractions by fractions? We're going to have some big vocabulary words today, and so it's going to be really important for you to make sure that you are writing down your vocabulary words and paying close attention to those words as we are writing them. So let's go ahead and look at our essential question. So our essential question today is, how do you divide fractions by fractions? So I know that in elementary school you learned a trick, and we are going to be building on that trick by looking at the vocabulary. So let's pay close attention today so that way we can really use those vocabulary words in a sixth grade way. So the first thing that we want to talk about is the word reciprocal. Okay, so the word reciprocal. And in your success criteria, you need to be able to find the reciprocal of numbers. So that's one of your first learning targets and success criteria when you are dividing fractions by fractions. The next one is going to be to divide fractions by fractions, and then last, divide fractions by whole numbers. And we'll get into that probably like tomorrow. So first, we're going to be looking at this idea of, well, we'll do mixed numbers tomorrow. We're going to be looking at this idea of the word reciprocals. So the word is reciprocal. Okay, reciprocal. It's a weird word. It's a weird word to spell. I can't spell it half the time. I have to try to look at it. So reciprocals. Try saying it. Reciprocals. Okay, reciprocals are two numbers whose product is 1. So two numbers whose product is 1. So we know that product means to multiply, and 1 is 1. So we know that this means that when we multiply the two numbers together, you're going to get multiplication of 1. There we go. Hopefully that's not as blurry. Okay. The next vocabulary word we're going to be looking at is the word invert. Okay, you see I'm wearing my shirt. It says inverted. Invert means turn it over. So my shirt says because I was inverted, and it has a plane that's upside down. So my shirt is from the movie Top Gun, if you've ever seen that. It's where the planes fly upside down from the 80s. There's my 80s reference for you. So inverted means upside down or to flip over. Okay, so invert or to turn over. So we're going to look at this word. It means to invert. And invert means to turn it over. All right, so we have the words reciprocals, and then we also have the word invert. So we have two vocabulary words right now that we're going to be looking at. Okay, so invert, turn it over, and reciprocals, products that make 1. Okay, so Miss Englander, what does this have to do with dividing fractions by fractions? So this is where the whole idea of what you learned in 5th grade is going to have some meaning behind it. So let's talk about this. So let's say that you have this original number of 3/5. Okay, so here's my original number. My original number is 3/5. Okay, so here's my OG, my original number. Okay, my original number is 3/5. Okay, that's my fraction. Okay, if I were to find the reciprocal of it, I would need to invert. Okay, so in order to find the reciprocal, I need to invert it. So the reciprocal means that I have to flip it over. I have to get it to have a product of 1. The only way that I can get this to have a product of 1 is to invert this original fraction. So the way I would do that is I'm going to invert my number. So there's my inverted number. And now I can find the reciprocal. So I'm going to multiply these. And I am going to get 3 times 5 is 15, and 5 times 3 is 15. And 15 over 15 gives me 1 whole. So what does this mean? So what happens is when I flip my original, when I invert my original number, I find the reciprocal, which is 1 whole. Okay, so two numbers whose product makes 1. So because I can multiply these two numbers together, they become a reciprocal. So I have my keep, I have my flip. Okay, so this is this idea of a reciprocal. It's reciprocating, okay, it's flipping, and it's inverted. So I have my original, and let's call this reciprocal. There we go. Okay, so that's how we get to the 1. Okay, let's try another original number, and let's see how this works. Let's try this number. Let's try the number 9/5. So if I wanted to make this one into a reciprocal, I would have to invert 9/5. So that means to flip it over like the planes, right? So I'd have to flip it over and fly upside down. So to fly upside down, I would be doing 5/9. And then I would multiply straight across. 9 times 5 is 45. 5 times 9 is 45. And that gives me 45 over 45, which is 1 whole. So this becomes its reciprocal. Okay, it's your turn. I want you to do some try-its. Let's do 2 try-its. Go ahead, do these. Make sure that you pause the video so that you can check your work. See if these are reciprocals. Do these have reciprocals? So 3/4 and do number 2. How would I find a reciprocal of 5? That one's kind of tricky because I didn't show you that one. So go ahead and check yourself. See if you can do this one without me helping you. Oops, sorry. Let's get my paper over. Okay, remember to pause the video. I'm going to do these right now, and then you check yourself. All right, so this one, I would just invert 4/3, and then I would multiply straight across, and I would get 12/12, which equals 1 whole. This one is a little bit tricky. First, I would have to put a 1 underneath it to make it into a fraction. Then I can multiply it by its inverse, which is 1/5. And 5 times 1 is 5. And 1 times 5 is 5. And that gives me 1. So I get a reciprocal on every single number, a product of 1. Nice job, 6th graders. Way to go. All right, so now you're kind of starting to get this key idea this key idea that you learned in 5th grade about to divide fractions, you have to keep that first one. Then you have to flip or find the reciprocal of your second fraction in order to multiply the next number, right? So the key idea that we're looking at here, let's use a different color here. So let's go here. So our key idea is to divide fractions by fractions. So to divide fractions by fractions, we flip the second fraction, so we invert the second fraction, and we multiply. So to divide fractions by fractions, we flip the second fraction and multiply. All right, so we are going to see how exactly this now works. So we're going to have another example. Let's check this guy out. All right, so we're going to have 3/4, 3/4, and I want to divide it by 5/12. So in order to make this one work, I would need to make 5/12 flip or find the inverse, and then I can multiply. So in order for this one to work, I would find the reciprocal of the fraction, and then I can multiply. All right, so go ahead and get caught up on your writing, and then we will continue to solve. All right, here we go. So this right here, on this one, we're going to flip. So make that one flip. Then multiply. So again, we're just finding the inverses just like we practiced up above. Keep it. We're going to change that because we're finding the inverse, and then we're multiplying. All right, here we go. I'm going to keep this 3/4. I need to flip or find the inverse. And now, because I'm multiplying like I did up here for the reciprocal, I need to change that. So now I can multiply those straight across, and 3 times 12 is 36. 4 times 5 is now 20. And I need to turn this into a mixed number because this right now is called an improper fraction. So I want a mixed number, and I can pull out 1 whole. And then I have 16/20 left over. And I know that I could leave it like this because I'm a 6th grader, or I can reduce this down by dividing by 4 because I know that 4 goes into both 16 and 20. So I could just divide this by 4, divide by 4, and this gives me 1 4/5. So as a 6th grader, you can have one of these two answers. This is more of a 7th grade answer, and this is what we're striving towards, a simplified fraction. All right, go ahead and check that real quick before I flip my page. So again, we are looking at reciprocals We're looking at this idea of building upon what you learned in 5th grade around keep it, change it, flip it. Yes, we know this rule. We know keep, change, flip. But why does keep, change, flip work? It works because we're looking at finding reciprocals. It works because of because you have this idea of inverted things, flipping them over, and then you can multiply. So you needed to build that background information in order to do this. Okay, so our next example, before I give you your 2 try-its, find 4/5 divided by 2. Okay. Oh my goodness, you guys, this one's weird. Okay, I've got a whole number here. Stop. Hold up. Wait. All right, you guys, we got to figure this out. I have a whole number. I don't know what to do with it. What am I going to do? Oh, I have to turn it into a fraction? Oh, seriously. Okay. Why didn't you just say that to begin with? My goodness. Okay. So how do I turn 2 into a fraction, though? What do I need to do? Oh, slap a 1 under it? That's all? So you're just telling me I have 2 holes? Okay, so this really means 4/5 divided by 2/1. Oh, so I'm just slapping a 1 under it. That was easy. I don't know why I didn't know how to do that. Okay, so I have 2 holes. Thank you for telling me how to do that. Okay, so 2 holes. I have 2 holes, but I'm not done, right? What do I have to do with this second number? Let me look back in my notes. What did I do? Oh, I flipped it. I inverted my second number. I found the reciprocal. Okay, so this is my second number. I need to invert that guy. Okay, I'm going to invert it. Are you ready? So I'm going to now have keep 4/5. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to invert it or flip it. And this right here, in order to find the inverse, or the reciprocal, I had to multiply. So this cannot do this. I need to change. So I'm going to keep, change, flip. All right, here we go. Now I can multiply. 4 times 1 is 4. 5 times 2 is 10. And now I have 4/10. It's really intense, I know. Okay, I could leave it here, just like that, because I'm a 6th grader. But I'm going to go for 7th grade work, and I am going to divide, by 2. And I'm just going to cut this, and I'm going to go 2/5. Divide by 2, divide by 2. Equivalent fractions, right? So equivalent fractions say that when I divide it down, I get 2/5. And that is my final answer. Okay, your job now is to do 2 try-its. 2 try-its? Here we go, 2 try-its. Okay, I want you to do this one. Try-it number 5 says 1/2 divided by 1/8. And then try-it number 6 says 2/5 divided by 3/10. Okay, go for it. Do those 2. I'm going to start solving those, so make sure that you pause your video so that you do not hear my voice right now. All right, I know I need to keep that one. I need to change this one, and I need to flip this or find the inverse. So I'm going to keep, change, and then I am going to invert and fly upside down. 1 times 8 is 8. 2 times 1 is 2. And I know that I can pull out 4 wholes. That was pretty good. Pretty good. All right, on this one, I'm going to keep that one. I'm going to change that one, and I'm going to invert that one so I can find the reciprocal. And so I'm going to go 2 over 5. I'm going to change that one. And 10 over 3. 2 times 10 is 20, and that becomes 15. I can pull out 1 and 5/15. I can leave it like that, or I could say 1 and 1/3 because I could divide by 5. All right, 6th graders, how did you do so far? Down below, I want you to tell me, how do you divide fractions by fractions? Tell me your strategy and what you know now about dividing fractions by fractions. So tell me down here. Answer your essential question down below. And then over here in your box, tell me, how are you feeling about vocabulary? How are you feeling about dividing fractions by fractions? And how did you do in your try-its? All right, head on over to your practice work and have an awesome day. Make it a great day the Cougar way.